The funny part is that I'm re-recording and reimagining and re-envisioning my 30-year-old album, my debut. Like every song is now like string quartet and more fleshed out and less, it's less 90s, but it still has the same fire and it feels like new material, and the lyrics are very, still for me, I can relate to it. It's still about, dealing with misogynists and abusive relationships. And I've always learned or been conditioned that anger, especially as a woman, is unattractive. It's ugly. It's harsh. It's cold. You're a bitch, whatever. And I know that there's a way to alchemize that and make something beautiful.
Welcome to The Creative Asylum, a weekly podcast that digs deep into the minds of visionary creators of all stripes. Musicians, actors, filmmakers, writers, artists, cartoonists, and cultural disruptors. Here, we'll discuss perspectives of living life on your own terms. Life lessons that keep us grounded, insane, and sometimes pull us back from the edge. So, take a deep breath, loosen your grip on the bland and the boring. This is your weekly prescription for authentic living, creative clarity, and hopefully, a little bit of cultural rebellion.
Side effects may include spontaneous joy, existential epiphanies, and an uncontrollable urge to do weird and beautiful things.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Creative Asylum. I'm Daniel House, and today's episode is a conversation with Tracy Bonham. You might remember her from her 1996 debut LP, The Burdens of Being Upright, and in particular, the rather enormous hit from that record, Mother, Mother. Now, 30 years later, she is actually preparing to re-record an entirely reimagined version of that record. All the same songs, but different instrumentation, strings, different arrangement, that whole thing. Her last record, which came out just this last year, is called Sky Too Wide. I think this probably gives a hint of where the new record will be coming from. It has a lot of string arrangements and is kind of more lush in that way. It was a great conversation. It was really nice to connect with her. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed talking with Tracy Bonham. Hello, Tracy. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Daniel. How are you doing?
We both have our hot beverages.
Cheers. You've got a cute Peanuts mug.
I do. I was going to change my Peanuts mug. And then my cousin early on, she goes, "Oh my God, is that a Peanuts mug? You have to keep it." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, you have to."
Okay. What I might do is I might change my mug every new season. I was thinking might be kind of cool.
I think it just shows a lot of character. And I think that you need to just express yourself through your coffee mugs.
As we all do in different ways. So, okay, just before we started recording, you told me that you're in a public place, thus the background noise.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's okay. And you said your parents are in an assisted living facility?
Right. This is a new thing.
Yeah.
My mom has Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's
and
rough.
My dad is 90 and still holding down the fort, but like he needs help. So it's actually independent living with the gradual, assisted memory care. And it's the first time I've ever stayed with them. They don't have a guest room.
Oh, okay.
And so for me, and I'm the baby of the family. So it's fine, because I'm staying on their couch. It's kind of fun, but I am almost 60 and I'm staying on a couch. But yeah, I had to find a quiet place, and this is what we got.
Okay. Well, you're never too old to couch surf, clearly.
Exactly. I guess, you know what this says? It says that I can get back out on the road in a
But do you want to?
No.
Yeah. So is this in Eugene or somewhere else?
This is in Eugene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know Eugene. I haven't been there for a very long time. I lived in Seattle for 22 years, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm a West Coast boy. And actually, my son lives in Eugene, as far as I'm aware. We don't really speak, but that's another story.
Okay, right.
Okay, so you're the baby of the family, and you, if I'm not mistaken, you had a big family.
Yes, and you need a compass and a calculator and a protractor.
So let me ask you this then. You're the youngest of how many kids?
Okay. Again, you need a calculator.
Okay.
There would be 9 of us. We don't all come from the same marriages.
Got
so
it.
I have 7 brothers and 1 sister, and they're all half and step.
Okay.
It's like Brady Bunch on steroids,
So
basically.
when your parents met, they had kids, each of them from previous. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I understand
And
that.
then there was more marriages and deaths and more kids
Right.
to come into the picture.
Were your either parents religious or they were just
No, right. Just more like broken family, like stitching things together,
right?
less religious.
Understand. How often you make it out to Eugene? Because you live in New York these days, correct?
I do. I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Since my mom started to decline, I've been coming out to Eugene 4 times a year,
Oh,
which
wow.
it's so great. I love staying connected to the place, but also
Mhm.
to my family.
Has it changed a lot since you've been gone?
Yes, it's turned into a mini Portland. Like when I go
Oh.
downtown, there's like the hipsters, there's a lot of homeless, there's a lot of drugs. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess it was always that way, but Eugene was always like the little sister of Portland, and Portland was always a little sister or brother of Seattle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We used
Yeah.
to like go to the big city. We would bypass Portland because it was a little sketchy, and we'd go up to Seattle where it was all big city.
And
Um,
these days, I'd
yeah,
much rather be in Portland than Seattle, given the choice.
I agree.
It's cuter, it's hipper,
Yeah, it's
and
hipper, more colorful. It's less
yeah,
cyber money.
yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds boisterous where you are, but that's
You know,
okay.
these old people, they like to party. Sorry. I'm so sorry about
It's
it.
okay. Every one of these episodes, there's something, and this is what this
Okay.
one is. This is what this one
This
is.
is real life. Like it feels like COVID where you just have to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
mind. I mean, I
Okay.
come from indie rock background, and this is indie rock podcasting.
This is
So
super okay.
pretty much. I mean, that's how I see it. So
Great.
I've been listening to the new record.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes.
I guess there's a new one in the works, I understand as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, then I went all the way back to the very beginning, which I remember. You're almost 60. I'm past 60, which I just can't quite fathom, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And the thing that kind of occurred to me is how kind of wild and weird and intense and probably cool it was to put out your first major label record and like the first song off the first record to be this enormous crazy hit.
Yes.
And I think most careers start out slow and build, and you kind of started at the top.
Yeah. And
And
then
and then it's been kind of more in indie land since then. And I just wonder, like, what has that been like for you? Was that sort of emotionally difficult because you're in your 20s at the time? It was like,
right.
yeah.
I just had a major revelation just right now as
Really?
you were. Yeah. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So okay, here we go. 1995, before a year before my release, the whole discussion was we don't want to come right out of the box with a major label because it's not cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So we put
did
out
the
an
EP.
indie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Island Records subsidized
Yeah.
it. Nobody knew about that. So my major epiphany is I am what I asked to be. Like I kind of wanted to be an indie artist this whole time. I wanted to have success, but I didn't plan on being plastered all over the place or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got what I wished for. Just been an indie artist with a little blip in the 90s.
I guess there's no right or wrong way. It's a great
There's
start.
no right
I
or
mean, it's a great song.
Thank you.
I actually think that the 2 records you put out after that, I actually like more as records,
Oh, nice.
as complete
Mhm.
freestanding records, and
Thank you. Yeah.
and I mean, it's that was 30 years ago, right?
Yes, it
Three
was.
3 decades. Regardless of all of that, I suppose, I think it's great that you're still busy and active and producing and creating, and I think that's wonderful,
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
this new record here, Sky Too Wide, what number is this in terms of full-length records? Is that like your
I think it's my 8th, but if you count my kids' music education album that
Okay.
came out in 2021, I think that's my 8th.
Okay. I mean, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
it's a delightful thing that you can still do that and that you are still so driven by that.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Call me crazy. Yeah, I'm really happy that I am.
Well, you're following the thing that brings you the most happiness, I presume. And,
Yes.
I think more people in the world should be doing exactly that and don't have that
Mhm.
opportunity. So
Right.
something else that I was looking at the credits and I was like, oh, damn. And I saw the name of somebody that I knew, well, when he was in high school. I'm a few years older, but Renee Hart.
Are you serious? Oh, yeah, because of
I
Seattle.
am dead serious. Yeah. So when
Oh
I
my God, that's
first
amazing.
arrived to Seattle in 1981,
Okay.
I became friends with all these kids that were going to the Northwest School of the Arts, Environments, and Humanities, and Renee was one of
Yes.
those students. I mean, if you mention my name to him, he'd be like, "What?"
That's amazing.
I probably haven't seen him in 40 years, and I
Whoa.
know that he moved to New York ages ago,
Mhm,
and I know
mhm,
that he's had this pretty remarkable career, you know?
mhm.
And so I was just like, "That's really cool." Like, how big the world is, and yet in the world of music, how teeny tiny it is, you know?
Yes, that is a beautiful thing. I love
And,
that.
so how did you connect with Renee?
I was teaching Renee's eldest child music. I was kind of mentoring their band that was kind of after school rock camp of sorts, and I was their teacher, I guess. And Jasmine, and Jasmine's incredibly talented, much like Renee.
Not surprised somehow, you know?
Not surprising at all. Then I met Renee through Jasmine,
Uh-huh.
and we became friends. We started playing together. Soon after that, it was kind of on my kids' music education stuff. We really bonded over music, but our music training, because he's so highly trained,
Right.
and I love his jazz mindset, and I come
Yes.
from classical mindset, but have always been more interested in the open-mindedness of jazz and other kinds of yeah, so we just, like, bonded over that
The fluidity of
incredibly, like,
jazz.
immediately. Yeah, and the present moment, like,
Uh-huh.
because when you're trained classically, it's not really about that. It's like, "Did I get it right?" You know? Yeah, trying to always break free from that,
Yeah.
control.
I was talking to, a friend of mine, do you know Victor Krimenacher?
Mm-mm.
He's probably best known as one of the founding members of, Camper Van Beethoven
Oh, okay.
back in the day, but he has this band called The Third Mind with Dave
Mm.
Alvin and some other people.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I bring it up is because he was talking about this particular group of musicians, and in particular, their drummer who used to play, like, in Dead and Company, and the point he was making was, like, if you really wanna learn to play, you just have to learn to just be in the moment and, like what you're saying, not worry about, fucking it up or whatever, like, it's okay. It's really feeling the moment, being in the moment, and playing your way through it, and Victor was saying how much he just loves that shift in mindset in terms of, how he's playing now compared to how he used to think about playing music 20 or 30 years ago, you know?
Right. Oh, that's so great. It's such a great thing to be able to unlearn.
Yeah. Well, what do they say? You need to learn the rules before you learn to break them or something?
It's true, and I don't ever discount my training because I think it's a great toolbox to have.
Mhm.
I can always call on this. I mean, of course, my technique's not what it used to be at all, but I do have at least a couple more tools.
So, I noticed this record has a lot of strings, and it doesn't feel classical, but it feels like some of the arrangements are coming from that place.
Yep,
Where was that
yep.
inspiration?
I had been playing more piano,
Mhm.
and it was by necessity.
Mhm.
I was starting to have neck troubles with the violin, but also guitar was exacerbating it and wrist problems. So, ugh. So piano, luckily I had that.
The joys of aging.
Exactly. But you make do, right? So I guess the message is that I wasn't going to stop
Okay.
making music. I had to
Sure.
figure it out. I'll play spoons if I have to. Spaghetti pot. But I had the piano, so I started kind of leaning back, using some of my older material and infusing it with some of my favorite classical pieces of
Mhm.
when I was growing up studying. And so I kind of like started to borrow or literally steal from Ravel or Debussy.
Nice.
And yeah, and that's kind of where it started.
I know you were trained on violin. Did you also learn piano growing up as well, as part of that?
Yeah, actually, I think I was playing piano first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's easier for you physically? It doesn't
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the violin is, I mean, now it's unfortunate that I don't play very often. When I do, it just, I tense up. And I think maybe singing and playing probably
Oh,
did
yeah.
some damage too, because it's like just awkward. And the years and years of it, it caused some degeneration in my
Sure.
neck.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a repetitive stress kind of injury sort of thing.
exactly.
So were the other kids in your family also classically trained, or are you sort of you're the wunderkind?
I guess so. My brother always teases me. He's like, "You're the golden child."
Do they appreciate your music? I hope.
I think they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they especially like the rock stuff. I know that
Okay.
they especially it was fun for them to come to concerts and,
Hmm.
you know, enjoy the whole
Right.
wonder of it all. Yeah.
If you're enjoying this conversation, please make sure you hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. It's the quickest way to grow our channel, and it's absolutely free. You can also subscribe to our other channels on social media. Check out our Instagram at Creative Asylum CA, that's the letter CA, or on TikTok at The Creative Asylum, that's all one word. Our website is thecapod.com, and our Facebook profile is the same, facebook.com/thecapod. All right, back to the episode. I don't know if I read or heard somewhere that you've had a couple of rough years. I don't know if these are any things you want to talk about or not.
Oh, sure. I'm open book.
I mean, I think part of it is what you're dealing with right now in this home. That's I have no parents left, they're gone. But
Oh,
but I can
okay.
imagine that what you're having to deal with right now must be emotionally difficult.
It's like you gotta like I compartmentalize. This is probably the next phase of difficult stuff or challenging stuff. I had a lot of personal shit before this, like divorce and cancer, and my son also, who's lovely, was experiencing some challenges. So if I could get that stuff sorted, then I could be present for my parents. Which I'm noticing there's a decline in my mother, but it's not bad yet.
Right.
But I'm preparing. It's like,
Okay.
okay, this is let's strap in, let's just buckle down and really try to be there for them.
Is the divorce and the cancer behind you, or is it stuff you're still having to deal with?
Stuff I'm still having to deal
Okay.
with.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cancer part I feel is done. Like
Okay.
they successfully got everything. It was stage 1. I'm just on a pill for the next couple years. But the divorce thing is still hard. I guess it's hard when you're still tied because of a child.
Hmm.
You know,
Well, I
I wish
guess
it were different.
in some aspect there that will be forever, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry you're dealing with it.
That's all right.
I've gone through it, and it sucks and it's no fun. But you have perseverance, I think, and
Hmm.
you're still playing music, and I think that's
Yeah.
evidence that you continue to.
Saving grace.
Is your new material that you're working on, is it pulling from or expressing any of the stuff you've been dealing with in life, or is it disconnected from that, or
Oh, it is very much, and the funny part is that I'm re-recording and reimagining and re-envisioning my 30-year-old album,
oh, really?
my debut. Yeah, so
Like the whole
it's
thing?
kind of oh yeah.
Really?
Like every song is now like string quartet and more fleshed out and less, it's less 90s, but it still has the same fire. And it feels like new material, and the lyrics are very still for me, I can relate to it. It's still
Uh-huh.
about, dealing with misogynists and abusive relationships and really coming to terms with my own
I
anger.
thought those things all went away.
I thought so too.
I was
Hmm.
I was hoping.
I know, right? Exactly. No, it's about anger and like what is my relationship to anger? I've always learned or been conditioned that anger, especially as a woman, is unattractive, it's ugly, it's harsh, it's cold, you're a bitch, whatever. And I know that there's a way to alchemize that and make something beautiful.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to be, whether harsh, I don't, it can be like powerful and poignant and profound
Sure.
and direct. And I'm learning that in my life. It's been very hard to be those things.
As much as getting old has its downsides, that's sort of I think that's the upside of aging
Mhm.
is the perspective you gain and, you
Mhm.
know, we'll just call it wisdom. Um,
Yes.
or
Let's do
just, I have no fucks left to give, and,
it. It's so good. It's
you
so
know,
good, right?
this is my anger, and you can deal with it or not. Like, it's up to you. I don't
Yes.
care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a
Exactly.
weird thing, that double standard of, like, anger in men is celebrated and anger in women is disdainful.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible to look to the history of that and how women were, classified as, crazy, or they had the vapors and all the things that, like women were put through and being
Right.
institutionalized. And
Right.
my mom, not my mom, but like my grandma was very buttoned up and had to kind of she was religious. She grew up in the Catholic Church, so she had to hide and lie about certain things that were just unsavory for a woman. And I think we're still kind of trying to unravel and heal from that kind of
Uh-huh.
yeah repression.
So what are your plans with the new reimagining of your original record? Like not many people do that. So it's fascinating that you are doing
Right.
that, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't seem to march by the drum that a lot of people would be like, "Why are you doing that?" Or "Why don't you make like a actual note for note recreation so that you
Oh,
can actually."
that seems silly.
Oh my god,
The
I
note
know,
per note
but
seems ridiculous.
well, if you could do it
Mhm.
just as like so that you could license those songs and not
Oh,
have,
right.
because Island Records owns the recordings of my
Right.
album in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So I'll never recoup. I still get statements of unrecouped balances and they're still at 1,000,006.
Really?
There's no way
For the
I'm
for the
right.
for the
It's just,
2 records?
oh, yeah, yeah, right. For 2 records. Okay. Maybe that's better. It's like 1,000,006. There's no way I'm gonna ever. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There might be a way where I can recoup that. But anyway, I still can't seem to make myself do a re-record. And plus, I don't think it's possible anymore. It's like I'm older.
I don't know.
Nobody
I
plays like that anymore.
I also just think that doesn't seem really true to the creative spirit.
Correct.
That seems like a task
Yes.
as opposed
Yes.
to, an exploration, you know?
Exactly.
And so I would much rather hear the reimagining. I mean, what inspired that idea as opposed to doing a new record like your most recent one? It's not a criticism. I'm just
Not at
curious,
all.
you know?
No, I think I was having so much fun with string arrangements on Sky Too Wide.
Yeah.
And I just thought, "Oh my god, I have been really wanting to explore." And, with technology, I can got my little keyboard and I have these other MIDI string sounds, and I can just create from
Mhm.
that place where my love of harmony and textures comes in. And so creating string versions of the Burdens songs just seemed like a natural progression.
Okay.
And a lot of them really work, and they seem bigger and more spacious, and I'd love to have a symphony someday behind me, but for right now, all I can afford is, like a string quartet, and I do this live. I've got, shows where I'm performing with string quartet with these arrangements, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be touring?
Yeah, I mean, if you call it a tour, it's kinda
Okay.
like I've got this residency in
Uh-huh.
Boston, I got some shows in Connecticut, I got one in Milwaukee, I have one in Rhode Island, and we're piecing together Chicago. So, I don't know if I can go out on, like, a tour, I'll
Right.
call it a tour, but, I've got a kid and stuff, so it's gonna be just playing as much as I can.
Is it gonna be all pretty much West or East Coast, I mean,
No,
primarily?
there'll be I'm trying to book some I got, something on deck for Eugene and Seattle and
Okay.
hopefully down the coast of California. I'm trying to come back to the Midwest. I'm gonna play a big Summerfest festival in Milwaukee in June, but I think I'm gonna come back to the Midwest in the fall or something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if you make it to LA,
Okay. Oh, good.
consider coming to San
Yes.
Diego because I'm in San
Oh,
Diego.
you're San Diego, for
So
sure. Where
if
can I play in San Diego now?
you could play the Casbah,
I remember the Casbah.
you could play the Soda Bar. I don't know how many people you're drawing these days, so I don't know, but,
Right.
like, I just recently saw Red Cross at the Casbah,
Oh, wow.
and it was
I
great,
love him.
and it was packed.
Yeah.
I only bring up the San Diego to LA as Portland versus Eugene, see, because like,
Mhm. Yeah, it's the same
they may not play
distance.
Eugene, but they might play Portland, and they probably won't play San Diego, but they'll play LA, so,
I know,
you know.
poor San
Poor
Diego.
San Diego. Well,
I
I
know.
used to live in LA, but, life's easier here.
I hear you.
It's not cheaper, but
It's not
it's
cheaper.
easier, it's more laid back, it's not as manic.
Yeah,
I love LA, but I'm also very much a fan of San Diego, so it's beautiful.
there you go. I like San Diego too.
Are you self-releasing your records, or are you on a proper label who's
No,
no?
I'm gonna self-release. I mean, unless something comes around that seems good, but like, last album I was contemplating getting, having a partnership with a label, but it just the contract came and it was still like they're going to own so much of it. And I was like, I am done with that. I am sorry. I don't want to give away control and stuff. That's just not
But
me.
what about if you were to pay for the recording and license it for a limited term? I mean, are their labels open to
True.
that?
I believe there are. I
Yeah.
believe there are.
I
And
mean,
so that is an idea.
I suppose whatever makes the best sense to you is what you should do.
Right.
There's
Right.
pluses and minuses. If you're able to self-release your record and do well enough selling it to have it
Yeah.
make more money, you get to keep all the profit.
True. That's the real conundrum, though. It's like, how do you really, honestly? Nobody buys albums anymore.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
think it comes down to the fact that if you have to tour and you have to sell merch,
That's exactly right.
which is
That's how you do it.
a harder thing to do as you get older.
Yes. And that's what everyone else is doing. So there's more like competition. I mean, like a lot of venues that I used to play are now like, well, sorry, you didn't sell it out. So I'm not going to have you back. It's
You
awful.
you didn't sell 2,000 tickets, therefore.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
Casbah is in the hundreds as opposed to the thousands.
I like that.
And it's a wonderful venue. It's great.
I remember
So
it's kind of under the airport, right? I mean, under the
under the
flight
flight
path.
path. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
It's
that.
like, there's a plane and it feels like it's 20 feet above you.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
played there with Jay Mascis. That was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
back in the 90s. Yeah.
Yes. Are you self-booking or are you working with a booking agent?
I have a booking agent, and
Okay.
that's really nice. Yeah.
Well, if San Diego is on your radar and you want me to connect you with Tim, who runs the Casbah,
Oh,
I would be
okay.
happy to make the connection. And probably your booking agent probably already has his info anyway, I'm guessing. But
Probably does, but it's something that I can kind of mention to him.
yeah, when this episode goes live, I'll say, hey, Tim, I name
Right.
dropped you. You should book her. So we'll see.
That's right. Exactly. And the thing about this like new, like playing the old material with string quartet, I'm also realizing it's just fun to rock too. So
Sure.
I got a rock band together for the Summerfest show, and sometimes I do solo rock, so it's not just like, let's have some tea and listen to classical versions. It's like, it's still got the fire. So Casbah could be a good place.
Yeah. I like the fact that you kind of have different versions of how you want to play your music for different environments. That makes sense to
Yeah.
me,
Good.
and you
It's
can
not
do
too
that.
schizophrenic. I hope it's not too schizophrenic.
Well, you get to do whatever you want to do because you're you, right?
That's right. Damn it.
Nobody has to tell you how you're supposed to do you.
Nope.
So let me see. How do I pose this into a kind of a wrap up question? Here you are in a place where your parents are getting older. I imagine that what you're dealing with right now makes you think in terms of where you're going and as you move forward and creatively,
Yeah.
and so how do you imagine yourself just in the next 10, 20 years, whatever, as you continue to create and, like, what do you want to do? Let's make this a job interview.
Okay.
Where do you want to be in 15 years?
Isn't that incredible to think about that? Like, I will be
It's super weird.
old lady. Well, okay. So one thing that at least make me breathe a little bit easier is that I don't know, it's not guaranteed, but I do feel like I can teach music.
Okay.
I'm always like, but I gotta get out and rock. But I know that I could teach music. I was developing a early childhood music curriculum
Okay.
that I was really inspired by, especially during COVID. It was kind of like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I was teaching in actually preschools, which turned out to be incredibly fun and inspiring.
I would imagine.
Right, all these little minds, and it's before they have the shame, and like they just, it's so beautiful. It's like what we all should try to remember to be. And so I have something that I've been putting aside for years now, and I do feel like maybe after this year, 2026 or something, to start putting more energy into it. I've got these great characters, and they all have their little lessons on overcoming personal obstacles that they have created for themselves in using music and music education and fundamentals of music as their launching pad. For instance, like I have a character named Joe the Crow, and I actually just got a tattoo of Joe the Crow on my my shoulder here. And Joe the Crow was taunted and teased by other birds when he was growing up because he sounds weird, right?
Yep.
But he realizes through his life that he actually sounds beautiful. It's just because, he needed to gain the confidence and overcome that trauma of being ridiculed.
Right.
And so he used to call himself One Note Joe. And there's a song that I wrote that just has one note, and the music around it is changing, but he just sings this one note, much like One Note Samba or something. And over time, he learns how to sing more than one note. And in the classroom or in the educational curriculum, I can help kids. First of all, they have empathy for Joe. They want him to be able to sing. Right. And you encourage it. And then he starts to learn 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And they're encouraging him. And so there's so much there.
Such a fun way to approach thinking about it.
Yeah. And I'm becoming animated. So I know that that should be my next venture in creativity.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be an either or either, right? I mean,
doesn't have to. Yeah, there's no rules anymore.
You get to play music, you get to create music, you get to teach music.
Yeah.
But it's all music.
It's all music.
And that's
it's all this.
Kind of great.
It is. Thank you. It's great.
So is there anything you'd like to add? I feel like this is a organic kind of closing place, but I don't know.
Oh, I feel like it's perfect because I feel really happy right now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Creative Asylum. A quick favor before you go. If you liked this conversation, please be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every Tuesday at 10. You can find us on Instagram and on YouTube at Creative Asylum CA. That's Creative Asylum and the letters CA. Our website is thecapod.com, and our Facebook is the same, facebook.com/thecapod. Until next week, when we'll have a new conversation with another creative disruptor, stay creative in life and at work.